Oh, I'm so happy to see you. Oh, I'm actually good. I only wear this for being on the bus.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Because I'm pretty good. I mean, you can hardly see my scars. Like nothing ever happened. You know, I still can't tear the paper.
Oh, I do, yeah.
Well, it's the pressure, but it's also the action.
I know. It's like when you take it back and you suddenly put a little thing. Yeah. Oh, but I'm glad to see you doing something.
I did this way, not so good that, and I was better this way for a while, and now I'm doing 1 pound weights, and it's freaking out. It's like, so I need to go back to icing and alternating hot. It's like, I thought I'd gotten rid of my hot and cold water bath thing, but I think I need to go back to it.
But you know what that means for us as well, because now you're doing 1 pound weights and the hot and cold. The frustration.
It's really hard.
Yeah. Oh, but, and I love the wall.
I
I love your colors.
Well, this is one of mine.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love the colors. I really do.
Well, it was so cool. We sent, I did a bunch of my music cards that I gave to, we said, well, we already hugged on the way to the bathroom. Well, me coming back and you going.
Oh, I see.
And so I made a bunch of thank you cards, which the board uses to send thank yous to people who give us money.
Yeah.
And one of the guys looked at the back and it said Jelita Prince, and he's like, "Do you sell your cards?" So we're having a conversation. So I was like, "Yes, this is good."
Brilliant.
It's just going to go conglomeration. It's surrounded by cornfields in Iowa.
Hello, beautiful people. Thank you so much for being here today. I am so excited to welcome you here. My name is Alex. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Unity San Francisco. Now, before I bring the great diva up, what you've all been waiting for, I wanted to start off by making a few announcements. If we can all please take a moment to check our devices and make sure all our sound is off. I am also going to request that we please not take any photos or video during this recital, as we will be videoing. We have 3 fantastic cameras that'll be picking up all the action. And you will notice on your tables there are 2 baskets. There's one that's a wooden basket, and there's one that's made out of wire. The one with wire has gluten-free crackers in it. So if you are gluten-free, please help yourselves to those. Additionally, is there anyone here who has any allergies that they would like to check in with before we get started? Just raise your hand nice and high. Wow. I think that's a first. What's that? No, I don't think we have any shrimp. I think we are all set on the shrimp. And so we are going to begin. So I would recommend, all of the cheeses have been so thoughtfully and tastefully paired to each of the songs on this recital. So my recommendation is, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but my recommendation is to please wait for the song that is, that each cheese is paired with before you begin to eat it. Naturally, you can help yourselves, but if you eat the cheese too early, you'll be left without any at the end. And I think is that it?
One word, quick word about the cheese. You want to start with the cheese with the pepper jelly on top at your 12 o'clock position.
And the spoon.
And the spoon. The one with the spoon should be top, center, and front. And then we're going to go clockwise. Good job. You got to work on that one. You need to do that one. Good job, good job. Okay, I think the rest of you guys passed. So that was just the last touch there. Okay.
Thank you so much. So without any further ado, let's make some noise for the great diva herself, Miss Cheesemonger!
son au poil. Et je sens mon cœur battre l'espoir. Ah, j'ai guetté l'instant de la revoir. Ah, je sens mon cœur battre l'espoir.
Hello, how are you today? Welcome. I am so glad to see all of you here. Wow. This is, as you may know, I have a cheese blog called Miss Cheesemonger that I've been writing for the past 9.5 years now. And I've been singing for about the same amount of time, so they are my two great passions in life, apart from Jan, who's over there. And this is my chance to join them both together. And so the way this is going to work is I've paired 7 arias or art songs with different artisan cheese with the help of my partner, Cheese Plus, and then also with the help of Dwight Okamura, who's at the piano. We have just entered the realm of Mignon, which is a French opera written by Ambroise Thomas in the 19th century. Let's see. Let's start with maybe how to taste your cheese throughout this event. We are going to go in a clockwise fashion, as everybody before me has said, starting with that little white cheese with the pepper jelly. Apart from, let's see. All right. Okay, so tasting cheese, it involves all of your senses. And so obviously, the first one is sight. You can note the color differences between cheeses. See if it's a blue cheese. See what kind of rind it has. Is it a natural rind? Is it a wax rind? Is it, let's see, what other kinds of rinds would there be? Does it have no rind? That's another option. So once you've kind of determined what color and appearance it has, you can go on to smell, which is an extremely important part of tasting. It's actually the main part of tasting in terms of finding the flavors of your cheese. Give it a sniff. As you then go to tasting your cheese, put it a little bit on your tongue, kind of mash it up a little with your, with your teeth, obviously, and then let the saliva just kind of like seep in there. That will break down the cheese a bit, and then, so here's the secret part. Breathe out slowly through your nose, and keep breathing through your nose, actually, with the cheese in your mouth. Sometimes you can alternate between strongly breathing out and then less strongly, but the aromatics from the cheese kind of rise up through your nasal passages and give you all of those subtle notes that we're going to talk about today, like such as herbaceousness or mushroom flavors or grassy flavors, because our tongue can taste the salty, sweet, bitter, sour, and umami, but our nose is what's going to get all of those thousands of other flavor notes. So now that we've got that settled, what's this actual cheese pairing? So, in the story Mignon, there are a couple of different storylines. This one is the story of Frédéric. He's a young boy who's fallen in love with a traveling art actress, and he has tried several times to win her over, but she has rebuffed him several times as well. He decides, once he learns that she is going to be spending the night at his uncle's castle, this is a great time for him to break into her room and then declare his love there. As you can imagine, it does not work out in the end, but he does try. And so with that, the cheese that I paired with this is called Fromage Blanc. It is made right here in Petaluma by Cowgirl Creamery. Many of you know them. They're one of the major institutions, not just of California artisan cheese, but American artisan cheese in general. They make Mount Tam, Red Hawk, some cheeses that we all know and love. But this Fromage Blanc it's just about as simple a cheese as you can, make. It's just cultured, it's left to coagulate, it's drained and salted, and that's pretty much it. It takes about a day to make. So there's no very developed flavor or anything like that. You're just gonna get a straight up milky flavor, a little bit of tang at the finish from the cultures, and a little bit of salt. And so the reason I paired that with the story of Frédéric is because I was looking for the most undeveloped and immature cheese possible. As you can imagine. He's got a long way to go. Frédéric has a long, long way to go. He would not survive the Me Too movement very well. But, you know, we will always have fromage blanc. So, the little bit of Espelette pepper jelly you have comes from the southwest part of France, Basque country, which is the part of the country that straddles the Spanish-French border. And in that part of the world, in the place of black pepper, we use Piment d'Espelette, which was introduced from the explorers from South America in the 16th century. So since then, if you go to that part of the world, you can see strands of it hanging in markets. You can find it in just about all of the cooking. It's really wonderful because it's not very spicy. It's actually very sweet, with just that little bit of kick at the end, which I thought represented Frédéric's burgeoning passions quite well. He's somewhat innocent, but you know he's got a little bit of anger in him. He's a little entitled and a little bit jealous. And so I thought, here we go. Here is Frédéric in a cheese. Next, for our next pairing, we are going to stay in the world of Mignon and actually pass to the story of Mignon herself. She is an extremely enigmatic, odd character in the world of opera, and she's incredibly complex. So she was actually created in an 18th century German novel by Goethe, where she was actually just a corollary character. The main character is this person who I will describe later. Anyway, she's a little foreign. You can tell she's not from around here. She doesn't know where she's from. She's a little androgynous. She's all around just enigmatic. And so when we meet Mignon in the opera, she is being forced to dance in a traveling dance troupe by an abusive master. And so this young gentleman, his name is Wilhelm, sees this abuse happening, decides to buy her freedom, and then also, in an effort to try and help her get back home, see where she's from, well, he asks where she's from, and she doesn't really remember. She says, well, I remember orange groves, blue skies, a really beautiful home, and that's about it. So we are left wondering where she's from. I can tell you, it is Italy. It is Italy. And so the cheese that I've paired with this is called Fior d'Arancio, and as you can imagine, it is from Italy. Fior d'Arancio means orange blossom in Italian. It is actually made in, the northern part of Italy, just about 50 miles north of Venice, by a gentleman by the name of Sergio Moro. He works with a collective of dairy farmers to make this cheese in about 5-pound wheels roughly. So he makes the cheese, he then pokes holes all throughout the cheese, and then he dunks these cheeses in wine for 1 month. And the wine is named Fior d'Arancio as well. This wine is made from Moscato grapes in volcanic soil. I tried to remember that for certain wine lovers in the audience. And the vineyards are located actually just next to orange groves. And so the wine itself has a lot of notes of orange blossom, honey, peach, apricot, all of those warm, sunny fruit flavors. And so the cheese as well, you will see it's a blue cheese. But don't be afraid, it's actually a very sweet blue cheese because the wine itself is very sweet. So after the cheese has been soaking in wine for 1 month, it is left to age on wooden planks for another 3 months, and then it's topped with orange peel, and then it comes to us. Let's see. Oh, yes, this is where I wanted to talk about terroir, and I wanted to. I chose this pairing particularly because it so beautifully demonstrates this notion of terroir, which if you love wine, you may recognize that term. It's the idea that the location where a food is made influences the flavors of the food. Because in Italy, the sun is so particular, the soil is very particular, the cows are specific cows. This cheese made in Italy is going to have a very unique flavor just because that location is so unique. And just as with the cheese, with Mignon, she describes where she's from. She has such precise memories, even though she doesn't realize what country it is, but the memories themselves, the little snippets of orange grove and blue sky and warm winds, they're so vivid in her mind. They sort of marry, and so when you taste the cheese, I also want you to imagine those warm winds and to taste the oranges because they're very prevalent, and to imagine that beautiful home and the beautiful lake that is her home.
Con
All right. Now that we've visited Mignon's world, we are going to pass to another subject entirely. Our next subject for our next song cycle is written by Claude Debussy. It is called Trois Chansons d'Habilites. Now, this song cycle is based on a collection of 143 poems by a man named Pierre Louis, who published them in about, I think I want to say it was 1894, 1895, claiming that these were actually written by a contemporary of Sappho, the famed ancient Greek writer. Now, these poems were supposed to trace through the life of Bilitis, through her love, disappointments, growth. They were actually not, obviously he wrote them, but that did not seem to deter anybody from enjoying them. Claude Debussy liked them so much, he wrote these 3 poems to music, and then he set another 12 spoken poems to musical accompaniment. And so, with this song cycle, we trace through potentially the same relationship, maybe 3 different relationships. The first one is called La Flûte de Pan. It is in it we have a young couple. They seem to be a new couple, and the gentleman has offered the young lady a set of panpipes, and together on a very late spring, beautiful day, they play the pipes together, and then enjoy the entire day. It is eventually nighttime, and the girl discovers that, wow, it's nighttime, she should maybe head home, but we're not entirely sure how it ends. And so, with the cheese pairing, I wanted to evoke that pastoral feeling, that feel of late summer or late spring, sunshine, warm breeze, very much like Mignon, but in a fresher way, sort of, in that this was a new relationship, and I wanted to represent that somehow with the cheese. And so, cheese-wise, we have a beautiful French cheese from the southwest of France called Fleur Verte. It means green flower, and that would be because the entire cheese, if you were to see the whole wheel, it's actually shaped like a flower, and it's coated, as you can also see, in a mixture of herbs, tarragon, thyme, and pink peppercorn. So while the cheese itself is not aged very long, it's actually only aged 4 days before being sent to the US from France. We get a nice, bright, lemony flavor, as you can see. Oh, it's also goat's cheese, so I just wanted to add that, which tends to have a very bright, citrusy note, and it's sort of like grainy texture a lot of the time. So I wanted to transport all of us to the same field as this young couple as they enjoy their romantic interlude, sensing all of those feelings that must be around them: nature, beautiful day, and young love. And so I wanted to also note this piano accompaniment is extremely difficult, and so thank you, Dwight, for playing it so well, and I know you will. But you will also note. I also wanted to note that you will also hear so many elements of the song in the accompaniment. So you will hear the passage of time, you will hear the pan flutes, and you will hear the frog song as it becomes night. It is an extremely picturesque piece. So the second piece, I'm going to present all of the pieces at once, cheese-wise, and then I'll sing them all at once. So the second piece, it's called La Chevelure, which means hair. In the original collection of poems, it actually appears just after La Flûte de Pan, so it may potentially be the same couple involved. But here we have, again, a young couple. The young man is describing a dream that he's had to his love. He has dreamt that her hair has wrapped around his neck and his chest, and they've become joined forever and ever. And then she blushes. It's the most sensual piece of the whole cycle, and the music just kind of washes over you in waves of passion as it comes and goes, and it just fills all of your senses. And so with the cheese, I wanted to choose something that would do that as well. And so again, we went with the French selection, this time called Brie à Savarin. This one comes from Burgundy, France, and it is a tripled cream cheese, which means that it has added cream to the milk. So how much cream? Well, triple cream means that for the milk solids, there is at least 75%, 76% butterfat in them. Yes, but the cheese is about half liquid, so it kind of like cuts it a little bit. That said, you're going to get very strong buttery notes in the flavor and a little bit of a tang, a creamy tang at the finish as well. And this cheese is particularly special because it has been infused with black truffle, which means that you're going to get a very strong umami, funky, kind of musky note as well. And so it's going to just kind of wash down your throat. It coats the tongue as it goes down, coats the throat. It just envelops you in its cheesiness, just as the music envelops you with its passion. And so that would be La Chevelure. And then for the grand finale, well, not of the recital, but of the cycle, it is called Le Tombeau des Naïades, which means the tomb of the water nymphs. And here we have a young woman again, but she starts off alone. She is wandering through a wintry, stormy forest and happens upon a huntsman who asks her what she's searching for. She responds. She's looking for these naiads and these satyrs, mythical creatures. He tells her that they've all died, but as a consolation prize, they can sit where their tomb lies and reflect and think about them. So the whole piece is very wintry and cold feeling. And when I was trying to find a cheese for it, I wanted something white. So I settled, with Ray's help, on Brabander, which is a goat's milk Gouda. Comes from Holland. It's been aged 6 to 9 months, and it is covered in a white wax rind. So it looks very snowy. And actually, if you hold it up to the light, if it's cut thinly enough, you can kind of see it has this beautiful translucent quality, and especially around the edges, it has a sort of alabaster, sort of otherworldly sheen to it. It's very beautiful. And with that appearance, it was perfect for the pairing. But in terms of flavor, when you bite into a Brabander cheese, you will get a little bit of a sandy texture up front, which I thought evoked the snowflakes that are collecting on this girl's hair very beautifully. And then they slowly melt and turn into a creamy cheese experience as you swallow. It's really a beautiful tasting experience. It's ultra long finish, a lot of caramel notes. It's a very sweet cheese. Let's see, is there anything else I wanted to add? I think that is pretty much it. Oh, I did want to say, if you do like this cheese, pro tip, you should look for Brabander's older cousin, well, I guess older sibling, called Black Betty. There is a very famous affineur, which is a cheese ager, out in the Netherlands named Betty Koster, and she ages Brabander. But some of those wheels of Brabander, she tests them and decides that after their normal 6 to 9 months of aging, they can go for another 6 months. And so they're ultra flavorful. You're going to get Brabander like plus. It's going to be ultra caramel, ultra crunchy. It's covered in a black rind. So if you serve the two together, they're just like I don't know, good, like the angel devil. So look, it's a beautiful cheese, just as Brabander is a beautiful cheese. And I think that's it for Les Chansons de Billy Teeth.
Où
How are you all doing? Yes. How is the cheese? Yes. Any favorite pairing? Do you have any favorite pairings so far? Any favorites?
Yes, the last one.
The last one?
Those little crispy bits of like
Right.
crunching on the stone.
Yes, exactly. Great, you got it. All right, so now that we've visited Billy Teese, we are going to change moods entirely yet again. We are going to the world of Jacques Offenbach. Yes, German-French composer, again from the 19th century. He wrote over 100 or nearly 100 operettas in his lifetime, and yes, he also wrote the music for the Can-Can. You all know. In this piece, we visit the land of Catherine. Catherine, this is the operetta Pandapi, which means sweet apple in French. Catherine, she had a great boyfriend for a time, but then he dumped her for no reason, or no apparent reason. And so her plans of living a nice, comfy life, not having to work, they've all been dashed. And so now she needs to apply for a job. She needs to earn that living. And so she's been sent over by an employment agency to the home of an old bachelor, and because he needs a maid. I don't think she's ever been a maid before, but she's gonna give it a try. So she makes her pitch. Eventually she discovers that Gustav, her ex-boyfriend, is also in this house, and that's because this old bachelor is Gustav's uncle, but he seems interested in her as well. So, Gustav says he loves her still. This old bachelor says he also kind of likes her. And so to test Gustav out, she allows the old bachelor to come and make some advances until Gustav cannot stand it anymore, and she cannot stand it anymore. She finally relents. They get together. The bachelor gives his blessing for marriage and also a large allowance, so then she finally does not have to work anymore. Yeah, I know. And so the cheese I've chosen for this aria is called aptly Triple Play Extra Innings. It comes from Hook's Cheese Company in Wisconsin. And I think it is a perfect example of the ingenuity of the artisan cheese scene in America. Hook's Cheese Company has been around for over 40 years. They make over 70 types of cheeses, and Triple Play combines many of their cheese-making traditions into one. So it combines both sheep, cow, and goat's milk. You're going to taste that in a few different ways, which I'll explain. There is also a mixture of cheese-making methods, including Havarti, Baby Swiss, and Gouda. So in terms of the flavor, you're going to get like a really strong punch up front, which I think is the Havarti note. You're going to get a little bit mellowing towards the middle, which is the, in my mind, the Baby Swiss note. And then at the long finish, it's really long and sweet finish, which is definitely the Gouda in there. And then the mixed milk, sheep's milk tends to have a sort of what I call woolly kind of flavor. It's almost like wool. The goat's milk is going to have a little bit of a tang, sometimes with a little nutty sweetness. And then cow's milk tends to have a really buttery quality. So see if you can pick those notes out as we are rooting for Catherine and her job interview.
Bonjour monsieur, je suis la bonne que vous attendez. C'est bien mon monsieur, la personne, vous l'engagez. Je vais vous dire, foi de Catherine, qui est mon petit nom, tout ce que je sais faire en fait cuisine, ça ne s'appelle les œufs à la côte, les omelettes, les œufs sur le plat, les confiture vite, les côtelettes, les ballons, et puis voilà, et puis voilà, et puis voilà. Mais j'ai bon cœur et pas mauvaise tête, si c'est sur moi que tout votre choix, je vous donnerai tout ce qu'une fille honnête peut donner pour enfant pas. Moi, je vous donnerai tout, tout ce qu'une fille honnête peut donner, oui, peut donner pour ton enfant, pour ton enfant pas. Moi. Quant au bouton, je sais les remettre, je sais blanchir, à la poche, je sais porter une lettre, et la franchir, pour les tapis, je sais mon discours, que dans les boucles, dans les cours, si ton personne sans faire l'amour, vite je cours, j'ouvre la porte, et puis je ferme quand on s'en va, je ne pleure jamais, oh éternel, et puis voilà, et puis voilà, et puis voilà. Mais j'ai beau cœur et pas mauvaise tête, si c'est sur moi que tout votre choix, je vous donnerai tout ce qu'une fille honnête peut donner pour enfant. Oh, moi je donnerai tout, tout ce qu'une fille honnête peut donner, oui, peut donner pour ton enfant, pour ton enfant.
so sad. All right, so with our last piece, we switch operettas to the La Grande Duchesse de Gerolstein, which is a fictional principality, the Great Duchess of Gerolstein. So the character of this Great Duchess was based on Catherine the Great, maybe during her younger years, because she's only about 20 years old here. She has been betrothed to a man that she does not like by a team of advisors. While she is technically the ruler of this principality, her advisors have actually been making all the decisions in her stead as they continually distract her with other things like husbands. So she's getting bored with this guy, and her advisors are noticing. They don't want her to start thinking about other things like ruling, so they decide to start a war because she loves wars, because there are a lot of men involved in war. Yes. So, with that, there was really only one possible cheese that I could have paired with this, and that is Livarot. Livarot. It is an ancient cheese, literally ancient. It is the oldest cheese, not this particular piece on your plate, but it has a history dating back to the 12th century when monks throughout Normandy would make cheeses like this and sell them in a marketplace. They were used as currency, actually, to pay taxes back in the day. It was actually at one point in the 19th century, around the time of this operetta, the most eaten cheese in France. And with that, what does this have to do with war or the military? Well, I think all of the stripes have been taken off, but usually as this cheese is aging, it is wrapped with rush or sedge, 5 stripes to help the cheese keep its shape as it's aging. And those 5 stripes correspond to the 5 stripes of a colonel in the French military. And so this cheese is often called Le Colonel. Yes. Oh gosh, we're almost done. Okay, well, I did want to take some time to thank my partners in this endeavor. I could not have done a musical cheese pairing without my musical accompaniment, Dwight Allen. And I could not have done this without the help of my cheese accompaniment, Ray Genevieve from Cheese Plus. And I could not have done this without Alexandra Gilliam of Unity Church, who is hosting us here today. The time has gone by so quickly. Well, with that, let us go to Gerolstein.
Oh, and thank you guys for coming. I totally forgot. Thank you guys for coming so much. Vous aimez le danger, le péril vous attire, et vous ferez votre devoir. Vous partirez demain, et moi je viens vous dire, non pas adieu, non pas adieu, non pas adieu, mais au je vois mes soldats préparés pour la guerre. Fixe droit, ne y a casse pas. Oui, j'en suis toute fière. Sur mes cœurs au défait, je n'en sais rien ce que je sais. Je n'en sais rien ce que je sais. Je n'en sais rien ce que je sais. J'aime les militaires, j'aime les militaires, j'aime les militaires. J'aime, oui, j'aime les militaires. Je sais ce que je voudrais. Je voudrais être continuelle, près d'eux, toujours je serai, et je les briserai avec une vaillante et légère. Au combat, je m'élancerai. Cela me plairait-il la guerre? Cela me plairait-il? Me plairait-il? Me plairait-il? Je n'en sais rien, ce que je sais. Je n'en sais rien, ce que je sais. Que j'aime les militaires, j'aime les militaires, j'aime les militaires. Leur uniforme coquet, leur moustache et leur plumet. Que j'aime les militaires, j'aime les militaires, j'aime les militaires. Leur vêtements, tout me plaît. Ah, que j'aime les militaires, l'uniforme, les moustaches et leur plumet. Ah, que j'aime les militaires, l'uniforme, les moustaches et leur plumet. Ah, que j'aime les militaires, ah, que j'aime les militaires. Oui. J'aime les militaires. Okay, I'll do an encore. This one you guys should all know. Des yeux qui font baisser les miens, un rire